Morning, everybody. Check, check. Can you guys hear me okay? The absence of your live left a gaping hole in my day yesterday. I'm very sorry. It was unavoidable. But, well, we tried to make up for it on CPI day, but that was just garbage price action that day. Garbage, garbage, garbage. So I'm going to give it a second. Let a few more people join. If you have any requests, put them up in the chat. We can take a look. One sec. Type in alerts and all that good stuff. So, how are we doing? All right, we got some people coming in. So by the way, how's the audio on this? I know in some of my recordings, I haven't checked the recordings on YouTube. In some of my recordings, like I have my headset just kind of sitting in front of me, yeah. I have the mic just sitting in front of me. Hold on, let me put it around my neck. That way the mic's close. Is that better? That way the mic's actually closer to my mouth. I don't wear it on my head just because, well, I don't need to. I don't need any sound, you know. All right, so that should be better. It should be better for the recording too. All right, so sounds good. Looking like SPY puts. For today, yeah, maybe for today. Let me see. Yeah, it's another one. It's kind of a shame. A lot of things today. So let's take a peek around. So VIX is bouncing off a multi-day low here. All right, here. Could be temporary though. It's done the same thing a couple times around open. Like you see, it did it yesterday. Popped up right at open and then just kind of bled down. That's good. If the VIX is bleeding down, you know, stocks can grind up. We're looking for potentially the same thing here, although the fact that it never really made a low here, might try and at least take this out. We'll see, but we want to see it kind of hold here and kind of start to grind down again. You guys can't see it, but I'm looking at market internals. SPY definitely looks stronger than QQQ. SPY doesn't look too bad. The volume's just not there at the moment, though. We'll see. Yesterday, the volume all really kicked in the second half of the day. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we get some this morning so we can actually see some decent price action. Maybe get in a trade or two. I'm watching okay, I'm not watching a firm. I'm watching a firm. I got into a call. Well, I think most of you are probably in a server where I alert. So, you know, I flipped to those calls after it broke what I was thinking would be potential head and shoulders, you know, here. A lot of the times when you see a pattern break down, that can be an even better outcome for a trade. I mean, there's people out there that do nothing but trade broken patterns. So when a pattern breaks down, that can be a great signal, you know. So if there was a head and shoulders type here, you know, people on that head and shoulders probably had stops around, they had stops probably around here. So this stop started getting triggered, which kind of continued the buying. That's why yesterday could be why yesterday was so strong. So unfortunately though, so we got into $80 calls at close yesterday. I mean, we made a profit. Profit's profit. I'm not going to complain. It was a win. But I was expecting more from it, right? I was really expecting that broken pattern to continue. Now, the problem with this is I had to go fairly short dated because they have earnings on the 27th. So we went with the 28th. So it was basically up only this morning. Either it continued in our direction or we got out. No need to hold red on a short dated option like that because it's just going to eat you alive if you do. It doesn't even need to dump. Like even if it just kind of grinds against you, like the direction grinds against you, it's going to destroy your contract. So you got to be pretty decisive with the short dated stuff. So SPY. We're seeing some follow through on last week. I would think we could get some more today, though. You know, I really do. Whether we do or not, I guess we'll see. But right now, we're just kind of retesting the gap. Like it did gap up overnight. Retesting this gap. Gaps get tested. Really, overall, what I want to see, though, I just want to see this candle. See, I have NFP levels marked. I just want to see this candle stay up here. A new high would be great, but as long as it stays up here above this level, and come Monday, maybe it'll get tested. You know, another candle here. Really, I mean, these two candles, full candles above here, and I think we're good to go to 780, 790, 800. But price has got to hold up there. So we'll see. So somebody mentioned SPY puts. I mean, if you're looking puts, I think QQQ might be the better bet. Tech is definitely weaker today when I look at the market internals. Like it's glaringly weaker. It's not even close. You know, when looking at market breadth, SPY is positive, fairly positive. It looks decent, whereas QQQ is actually negative. It's not even neutral. It's negative. So we'll see. It's popping back up to its neutral line now. We'll see if it wants to break back up. Let's see. Thoughts on Cisco? Is it too late to enter the Affirm call? Yeah, we already exited that. I wouldn't. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Walmart. Yeah, so hold on a second. Let me look at the trusty old heat map here. Always a helpful tool. Hold on a second. Let me turn the there we go. I turn the alerts off on my phone. It gets really annoying. So sorry, I'm taking a peek at the heat map right now. If you guys have one, you can take a look yourselves. And here I'll do this. I do this all the time. Let me copy this link. I'll post the link of the one that I use. It's free. It's the best kind. There you go. I just posted it in the chat there. Like I said, it's a free heat map site. Heat map is a great tool to have. So right now, gold stands out to me sector-wise, all green there. Oil and gas, so energy, and then AMD. Listen, freaking AMD, man. It does it to me every time. Look, I had it on my watch list yesterday. I had it marked out and everything. I was talking about it in my live. I was like, you know, every time I don't trade AMD, it runs in the direction that I thought it would. And I was telling them on my live charting last night, I said, maybe from now on what I should do is just tell you guys when I'm thinking about trading AMD, then you can get in it because it's going to rip. But yeah, I mean, so AMD, basically we got price compressing. It's basically all I've been watching, and it's touching near the bottom here, holding priors here. So really, I was just expecting it to try the top side of this wedge here. Maybe shoot for this high. And sure enough, here we are. It's like the only thing that's really up today in the semi. Well, I mean, there's others that are up in the semis, but of the big ones, it's up the most. SanDisk. Let's take a look at SanDisk, actually. SanDisk looks like it's having a good day. Big gap up overnight. So big gap up overnight, retest to that gap, bouncing a new high, but now it's coming down. Nothing immediately jumps out at me there. Somebody asked about Walmart. So Walmart, let me close this watch list. Let me clear the chart there. Get all my scribblings and doodlings off there. So Walmart in a high time frame, you remember when it was in here, right? All-time high here around just over 100. Then it kind of kept pushing up to it. Couldn't quite get there. Couldn't quite get there. 530. Finally, just barely broke it here and rejected. Pulled back, consolidated, finally made a new level. Pulled back again, and then this was the real break. Well, this level here, if you look at my cursor, followed all the way over, this is that level that it's testing now. Especially highs like this, like all-time highs, eventually they're usually going to be tested, right? So if this was resistance, it's just kind of bumping against it, finally breaks through. Well, now it's going to retest it and try and turn it into support. If it can hold and turn it into support, then it can go make a new level towards up here. Now, this is a daily chart, so this is going to take quite a bit of time, but that's what we're seeing here. And we've seen it tested twice here. So, yeah. Let's see. This is a monthly chart. This month held last month's low by quite a bit, actually. So now it's going to go try the high up near 118. Yeah, Walmart's not a bad pick for whoever put that up there. It's just it's in that kind of consumer defensive, consumer cyclical category. So it tends to move when tech slows down. So look for tech to kind of peak a little bit, and then you should get a solid run out of this. I got this, should be on my watch list. Yeah, there we go. We'll watch it for today though. It looks pretty strong right now. Taking out this high, going for this one. If it can if it can hold, let's zoom in a little. Little pullback. If it can bounce today and go for the highs again, it may want to go try that 118 level, which I think this is it here, maybe. Yeah, so this is kind of the monthly high. So yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on here for a potential swing. Day trading Walmart is not easy though. It moves really, really slow. So I'm gonna set an alarm up here towards today's high. It's gonna need to get back up there, I think. Odds are though, I think it's gonna take this and try here first because it failed this high and did it fail this one? 1645. So yep. So it failed this high. This is a lower high. Now this is another lower high. So high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So if the trend continues, it's going to break through here and it'll probably break pretty strong and head for this area. Should I sell CoreWeave? I'm down 300 right now. I don't think it's going up anytime soon. Well, are you talking shares or, I can't tell you exactly what to do, but I can tell you what I see on the chart. It really depends on your own particular setup, right? Could be long term, could be short term. It could be based on years, it could be based on hours or days. So it's hard to say. So it's got this gap underneath. Listen, gaps get tested. Remember that. It's very rare. Every once in a while you get, like a gap and go, like where it just gaps up or gaps down and just keeps running. But more often than not, gaps get tested. This looks like a pretty clear. Why do I do that every freaking time? This one looks pretty. pretty clear kind of head and shoulders thing going on here. If it breaks this low, actually it's already broken. If it breaks this low, it's probably going to head into this gap right here. So shame we missed that. That would have been a good short actually. It's still there. Let's put this on the day trade list. This one's got potential for a put. Whoops. It's got potential for a put. Maybe if we get a retest to the underside. Actually, it's doing it now. Give me a second here. Let's take a peek. All right, so what's the low here? 103. So it didn't quite take that. 103.20. But what we're looking for here is like a lower high on the daily. So maybe it gets up into this area, fails that high, then we can short it here or maybe to that 103 area. Yeah, that's possible. I'll wait for it to get up this way though. So we'll set an alarm here. Man, it's kind of pushing there now already. CoreWeave's a mover. Makes me wonder if it's actually gonna do it though. I mean, this was a pretty rough rejection though. Let me look at the high time frames before we do much more and get these off of there just because they're gonna be in the way. All right. So yeah, like I said on the daily, so we're looking at, is it gonna test further into the gap or is it gonna hold here? On the weekly, 20 points, huh? It's a little overextended on the weekly already. So most likely, odds are it's not going to take this high today. If it does, it'll probably be sometime next week. So we'll keep an eye on it for a rejection. That's a pretty strong bounce though. So that's a tough one. So it took out the pre-market. Also took out yesterday's low. Oh, and there's the alarm that I had set. So let's watch it here. What was the low? This low is 103.50. So maybe like a 10. Well, we'll see. Let's give it a second. 104, 105 put, something like that. A decent looking strength here though. Makes it hard to want to short it, you know? Chart looks good, but you know, if there's too much strength there, it's so I think maybe we would look prior low here. I guess it was like 103.50 something. Maybe a 105 put. Let me look at the Even a 106 might be valid. They're a little more expensive. They're like $100 each, but it's not so bad. All right, where are we at here? Give it a minute. Because it's kind of deciding here, right? Like there's this. You might want to try and bounce here a little. Give it a sec and see if it can come up and kind of fail this. Then it'll most likely break a little further down. We'll let this 5-minute close. See how it closes. Sorry, I am seeing the other requests there. We will get to them. This one looks interesting now. So here's the open of that 5-minute candle. It's kind of where it broke through. I might have waited too long on this one. No, it's gonna should give it at least a short-term bounce here. I mean, don't get me wrong, it could just drop right through, but tell me that's what it's going to do. We're going to miss our opportunity. I need to be a little more decisive on these things. I like to be conservative and, wait and check and double check. I miss a lot of opportunities doing that. If I would have just taken it up here where I set the alarm, we'd already be up quite a bit, like 50% or more. Maybe start taking them there and just put a tight stop on it, kind of thing. Yep, I think it's going to drop right through, and I'm just going to miss it. Damn. That's rough. Let's see what this 15 does. Maybe we can get go for like the 103. There we go. In the meantime, let me take a peek here. So you can see IGV is the software ETF. I made a new high yesterday. It's kind of slowing down a little bit. SMH, the semi, it looks like it's trying to bounce a little bit here. It's chopping, but tech is fairly weak at the moment, though. Well, some tech, at least. Man. I don't think it's going to bounce. Well, let's do this. I'm not going to sit here and stare at it and hope it bounces to give us an entry. I'll set an alarm here. See if we get like at least a partial bounce back here that we can short. And we'll just keep looking at other charts. Always another opportunity. No reason to force the one in front of you. Thoughts on now? It's been bounced between 120 and 130. Yeah, I love the way now looks. I have shares. Options have been tough though. I actually just closed mine. I had a 120 runner that was up quite a bit. I closed that yesterday. And then not too long after that, now had that nice pop. right? It had this nice pop yesterday. It finally made a new high, and I thought for sure it was going to go and take 130. Full on reversal this morning. So I closed my 130 calls. I had already trimmed a little bit off of it, and I closed the rest at like a small profit, like maybe like 10% or something like that. I don't want to play with this. I'm kind of tired of these kind of games that the market's playing. So if the market's going to play that kind of game, I'm just gonna, I'll take my profits and move on. It's been tough to get continuation on a lot of these. What do we got here? 30.93. Did touch the pre-market low in the gap. Maybe it wants to bounce here. All right, here's yesterday's low, pre-market low. So those tend to be important levels when you're looking at day trades. Let me look at the internals real quick. No. Not much changed there. VIX might be trying to top out and then drop through. So maybe there'll be some longs available. Let's look at SPY. SPY so far holding this level. QQQ trying to hold this level. Still not convinced there though. What's Google doing? I was watching Google yesterday. All right, what are the other requests here? So we looked at Walmart, looked at Now. You look at the heat map. Like I said, I put the link up for that. I don't know that I can really. I guess I could change my stream. I'd have to change it on OBS, which is kind of a pain though, to be honest with you. Let me see real quick. I would like to share a little more with you guys. So maybe we can do that. Let me look. Hold on. No, I'd have to change the whole. Yeah, I don't think I can. I mean, I might be able to, but I don't want to mess with it right now while we're live and end up like cutting you guys off on accident or something. I'll test it out and I'll try it for next time. But the link's there so you can take a peek at it yourself if you want. Cisco's another one that's just been like rough recently. It looks really, really good, but it's just not doing anything, right? Oh, that's right. And it had earnings too. I forgot about that. So it just got crushed on its earnings. I mean, another one, great numbers, and it just dumps. So, I mean, let me clear this chart. Pretty straightforward here, right? Let me put this back. So here's what happened. It's consolidating here, broke out, retested, bounced, but this level here, these lows, this high, just this whole area here has been tough for it. And basically what happened, and this happens a lot with earnings and news candles. Keep in mind, guys, I'm of the mind that like the chart's going to go where it's going to go regardless. It has a path regardless. And news candles, earnings, things like that, it doesn't change where it's going. It just sends it there faster, right? So if something was going to take a couple days to move up, hit a high, reject, and then move down here, well, a news candle or earnings can make that happen in one candle, right? A real quick up and then down. And that's exactly what happened to Cisco if we go look here. Exactly what happened. If you go to the after hours, all that volume ran it up, new high, rejected, right back down. And that's what the high volume does. It just runs it through the paces faster. So it's going to try and hold this area here, this area that was a resistance prior. So it's going to try and hold there and turn around. If it can't, then it's probably going to go, another one that's going to go test the gap below down here towards like $100. So let's keep an eye on Cisco actually. It could be a decent setup one way or the other, whether it bounces or drops a little further. Let's set one about here too. Just kind of, it's kind of a little above and a little below. CoreWeave doing anything? Oh, yeah, it is. Let's see. Now here's my concern now with the VIX dropping. What are the other neo clouds doing right now? What's Nibius doing? Interesting. So why is CoreWeave so weak when Nibius is having a pretty solid day? Yeah, if this fails, this thing's just gonna drop. 15-minute looks like it could drop. 5-minute looks like it wants to also. 2-minute. I might take a swing at this here, guys. So what's this low here? I'm gonna try the 105 put expiring today. Let me alert that. All right. Let's see what we get here. Oh, wow. Plus 15% already. Very nice. So basically we want to see it. I took a 105 because these are fairly cheap contracts. Like they're not crazy expensive. I think they were like $86 or $88. So I took the closest one to this prior low. We don't have to shoot for the whole daily low, but just right here. If the contracts are cheap enough, why not get one closer to the money? You know, so then all we got to do is see a new low and we'll see some solid gains. So we want to see it drop through here. I said there's plus 15%. Though if it held here before, this could be a little tough. So we definitely want to see it drop through here and not hold. Because if it holds that low, if it holds this low, it's going to want to try and bounce higher. And it's coming up to the close of an hour. Ideally, we want to see this hour close red. $563, $543 was that low. And it's not what I want to see. There you go. Take this low, 563. Let's see, make a new low on this candle here. Come on, another dime. And it does not want to break under 73. I think this might bounce. Crap. Hmm. 607. Come on. Go. Go. This way. 73, 77. It's 105.73 wick, held fairly tight. There we go. There we go. Now we want to see it take this 105.43. If it takes that, it should head down here to this area, which would put us in the money. We're back to plus 15%. We're going to look to trim if it breaks this low, or even if it just approaches that low. There we go, 25%. Take a trim. All right, what are we going to get next here? So we want to see it continue down into this area here. Next, so we have a 5-minute closing. This is a good sign. Red inside candle followed by more red taking out both of these lows. So that's a positive sign for us. Again, nothing is 100%, but that's a positive sign for us. 5 minutes left on the hour. Again, just looking for a continuation here. So I like trading, like when we're on here, I like trading the individual stocks. We've done pretty well with it. But the one thing with them is they can move slowly. So watching them while you're in the trade can get a little kind of blah, you know? So sorry if it gets a little boring while we sit here and watch this, but hopefully most of you got the entry with me, so it won't be really too boring for you. But a chart like this can move pretty quickly, so I don't like to move off of it when I'm in a trade, if possible. You know, sometimes you have to, but okay. Let's see a little further extension here. There we go. Now what we don't want to see is this, right? We don't want to see just like barely low. We want to see this. We want to see a steep drop here. So we want to see a total break of these lows, ideally, and then head for here. Yeah, don't want to see that really. So if this goes back to even here, I'll probably just close it. I'll take the little bit of profit that we have. You know, nothing wrong with taking a small profit and then protecting the rest of your position. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever, guys. Not everyone has to be a huge win. There's nothing wrong with protecting your capital. Let's see what this next 1 minute candle does. I want to see this breakdown. This is a 2-minute chart. I just like to get a little different view between the two and between the 1 and the 5. Let's be careful here. We're still like plus 10%, but like I said, I may just punch out at even if this decides it wants to try and break up on us here. Hour's trying to close green is what's happening. Inside 15-minute. All right, so 2 minutes left in the hour. Let's see what it wants to do here. Hourly open was 105.46. There you go. So right about where it's at now. Ideally, we want to see the hour close solid red down here. That would be the ideal situation for our put here. Come on. All right, last minute on the hour, 34. There we go. Come on, push harder. We want to see this, ideally, we want to see it break under 105, because once we're in the money, the contracts will gain value much more quickly, and they won't lose value as easily either once they're in the money. But this is a solid move for us. We want to see it a little further, but 30%. Now let's take another small trim at 30% before the hour changes, just to be safe. Just to be safe. A new hour can get volatile, so we don't want to risk it just kind of running away from us on accident there. Oh, well, that's good too. Nice little gap down. Almost in the money. What we want to see here is we want to see it test here and then turn around and just drop. Drop to maybe like the 450 area. So you see the hourly gap down. Now it's kind of retesting. There's definitely a bit of support there that's trying to hold it up, but a little more directionally, like a little more momentum down, and it should just run for us. So ideally, where we want to get with this is, like I said, we want to get in the money so we can take a nice size trim for a good profit. And then once we're in the money and we have a good amount of profit booked, we can move away from this chart and comfortably let the position run. You know, we just set a couple alarms like up here and then maybe down here to notify us where it's going. And then we can move and look at another chart. You know, so we're just looking for really one more move here. Move up and we get out. Move down, we take that trim and we kind of set it on autopilot, if you will. Come on. This is why I said I wanted to trim before the hourly closed, because on the new hourly open, you can definitely get people stepping in and trying to turn it around or just retest at least. Yeah, I'm out of the rest of even here. I'm not going to mess around. Yeah, I'm not going to mess around with it. Little profit. Like I said, we made some money, so why risk the rest of it? Could it still go in our direction? Absolutely it could, but I'm not going to risk it because, well, why should we? Because we just made some money on it, and we can always re-enter if we want to, or we can re-enter another trade. So, nice little win there. Nothing huge, but win's a win, profit's profit, right? If any of you guys happen to catch that with me, please post that in your gains channel in your server. Much appreciated, and tag me. And also, you know, as usual, if you wouldn't mind liking the live and subscribing to the channel. Also, for any of you that don't follow me, I do have all the other socials, basically. Just about everyone. Just about everyone. So go find me. Or if you want some of the links, I can post them here. Just let me know. All right, so thoughts on memory. That is a good question. Speaking of socials, I just posted a video on them. So SK Hynix right now is my favorite. We Well, again, most of you guys are on a server with me. Not all of them have my long-term stuff on there, but a couple of them do. We entered a long SK hunt. Man, did we catch this? Talk about catching a bid, man. Like we entered here in the middle of this day and then pop, pop. 3 days later, and we're up like 30% on an equity position. Like that's wild, right? This was our full target, and we're almost there in like 3 days on an equity position. So I like this. The video that I just made um, is about them and their buyback that they're doing, and I think this is going to become a regular across the memory sector. Um, Memory companies are making so much money. We'll take a look at Tesla, I promise. Memory sectors are making, or companies are making so much money. Their profits are huge. Their margins are just outrageous, right? They have so much cash that, like, so SK Hynix was looking at putting it in a bond, right? Buying bonds just to get some interest on it. And investors just started screaming, like, no, like, you need to, you know, kind of pay forward a little bit here to us. We're the investors. We're the one that supported you, kind of thing. And we're seeing losses on our positions now. So SK Hynix canceled the bond buy, and they decided they were going to do, I forget what the number is in won, their currency, but in dollars, the full program, the full buyback was like $79 billion, with about 29 or 30 billion of it being direct stock buybacks of their own stock and the ADR here in the States. So that's going to, the full details, they're kind of leaked out there, but the full details are going to be put out in their next earnings report, which they moved up from the end of the year just to kind of keep investors satisfied. Um, so we've talked about this before on some of my lives. Buy the rumor, sell the news is a real thing, right? But there's a so there's always kind of some kind of catalyst event, like a story for most stocks, right? And going into that story is what drives the price. When you reach that event is kind of the end of that run. That's selling the news. So that's why you see in earnings, price might pump into the earnings and then it drops as soon as the report comes out, because that expectation is now gone, right? All that anticipation, that buildup is finally gone. It's like a rubber band snapping, right? Pull, pull, pull. Finally, at the end, it snaps. So SK Hynix, in my opinion, I think that buyback is the rumor, right? So right now it's the rumor running all the way out here to their next report, which isn't till like Halloween, the end of October. So they got time to run. Once it's announced, well, everybody's already going to be in at that point. So once it's announced, you've kind of missed it. But I think they're going to start a trend in the memory sector. I think a lot of these memory companies are going to start doing this, and it's going to support all of their prices, because their prices are struggling right now, because it's almost like, how can they possibly top what they've done so far? How can they do any better, right? Because if they can't do any better than what they've already done, the stock price isn't going to hit a new high. Oh, there's a Cisco alarm. There goes Cisco through the floor. Man, this one, I'm putting this on the list for a potential put. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I know a couple people asked for Tesla a couple times. Let's take a peek at Tesla. Yep, that was a good exit by us, for sure. That was a good exit. Even though we exited here, look what it's doing. It's making a higher low, so it looks like it actually wants to pop now. So made a little profit. Gonna make a liar out of me, right? Head lower, but oh well. Either way, we're out. So Tesla, I had Tesla on my watch list right there yesterday. It was second on the list, right under DRAM. So I think I was looking at it short-term and long-term options. I think Tesla. So it kind of bottomed here, here, here. At the very least, yep, I thought it was going to see 350, which it did this morning. Now for the long term, I think it might need a little more time, but yeah, it could top out here on the on the lower time frames. It looks like it wants to reject. So it's got to hold this level first, about 335. Then this and this, about 325. So 35, 25, 10, I would say, are about the levels. So first is here. Let's set one here. We'll see if it wants to bounce off of that. But yeah, that's pretty much where Tesla is now, in my opinion. Can we get a trade on Tesla is the question. Do we short it to there? No. No. See, I don't want to short this. This is already, it's already run away from us. And it does want to go lower. That stinks. Oh well. And it was like right in the money for us too. It would have done so much better if it dropped just a little further. But we kept losing value every time it bounced. Still a nice trade though. All right, what other requests did we have? CoreWeave, we looked. Any thoughts on AMAT, Scott? Maybe a good time to buy long term. So AMAT is in one of those sectors. If you guys take a look at your heat map that I sent you, right? AMAT is in that little one. It's kind of right in the middle of the tech on the left-hand side there. It says semiconductor equipment and materials. Super volatile sector, but a lot of strength. You'll recognize a lot of those names. ASML, AMAT, LRCX, TER. That one was on my watch list yesterday too. Actually, I still like that. Where'd it go? Oh, maybe I took it off. The only problem with this is I was looking for options, and you know the option chain isn't the best on this guy, but the strength in this stock is just, man. This one could be a good long term, right? Because even to the high is 20%, and I think that's where it's headed, right? I saw, that's the other reason why I started looking at it. I saw some big flow on this yesterday, big option flow on this. All right, so you asked about AMAT. Monthly, so I got its whole move traced out here. 50% retrace. So I have an alarm here. You see, I had that set at like the 50% retrace area, which is also right around the 200-day moving average. So I was looking for a little lower before I bought, and it looks like it might be trying to do that, right? See how it's kind of starting to round up here. Looks like it might want to come down. And also your RSI seems to be rejecting the neutral area. And yeah, so some weakness here too. So I think you might be able to get a better price. Maybe. Hard to say exactly. So if you're looking long term, you know, especially if you're looking like years, sure, you can buy some here, because then you can buy some more here, even some more here if you wanted to. Because if you're looking at holding it for potentially years, well, you know, you're not going to need to worry about doing anything with it until like out here, right? So you got plenty of time. So this little space here over the course of a couple years does not matter. This is pretty insignificant, right? Now, if you're talking days or weeks, this is a much bigger deal. So it depends on what you're considering long term. But also for a long term, what you want to see is same thing when we looked at, I forget what the other chart we looked at was, but same thing, right? Prior high that it struggled with. See, it finally broke it and took off. Let's see how it tested it here. It had its quick retest. There's probably going to be another retest at some point. So you want to see this prior high turn into support, which will allow it to kind of start making new levels up here towards $1,000, right? So it's not such a bad thing if it pulls back here and tests first. A retest and confirmation of this old high is much more bullish for the long term. No retest, and well, it can be, you know, it could pull back further. Yeah, gold, like I said, gold sector is pretty wild today, actually. Very, very green. It's a shame. Day trading, yeah, I've never tried to day trade gold, any kind of gold options. Futures, yeah, but never gold options. All right, we looked at CoreWeave. We'll take a look at NVIDIA, AMAT, Rocket Lab. Let me take another peek at. I'll take another peek at the memory and see what they're doing. Man, SanDisk looks like it wants to break. How about SK? So this kind of looks like, yeah. See, SanDisk did it pulled back, then it had a higher low here. SK had a much bigger gap up, I think, but hold on, I'm gonna do this. Let me hide that. There we go. Maybe we can try a long on SK Hynix now. Because it looks like it's holding the pre-market, like the pre-market lows here. So it gapped up. Looks like it wants to hold that pre-market low, right? The gap. So what was the open? So maybe we could target the open, which is like 70, high 72. Let me take a look. I wonder what an SK 170 costs. Today. Oh, they're not bad at all. Not bad at all. Let me check something here. Let me check the old volatility. I have one of my screeners. I just go by pure volatility. What's seeing a lot of volatility or relative, Avgo or relative volume today. And SanDisk is WDC also. And SK is not even on there. So SanDisk might be the better one, being that it's much more volatile, meaning it's going to move better. AMD, SpaceX, Avgo. Let's take a peek at some of these. What's Avgo looking like? Whoa, what happened to Avgo? Holy crap. Was there some kind of news that came in here? ARK bought 39,000 shares of Broadcom worth 16 million ahead of Avgo's fiscal 3. Well, it's not loading the story, but it looks like someone big sold shares. This could be the retest we're looking for here, though, but I don't know that I want to mess with that today. Let's look at SpaceX. SpaceX is seeing a lot of volatility today. Gonna hold this. Could see a nice bounce here. So what I'm looking at is, because it's so weak right now, see even on the 15-minute, yeah, it's so weak right now. Maybe we can just look for like a bounce play, like a 140. All right, so SpaceX today, 140. Oh, these go by the dollar too. So maybe 139s. Yeah, it's like a minute late on that. Well, give me the test back here. Just give me a little pullback and then go. Little pullback and then go. Maybe, maybe not. I don't want to get too focused on one chart and miss something else. What's SanDisk doing? No, nothing yet. Yeah, so we want to see just a quick little pullback here to like the 36 area, and then run and break towards this. Definitely an opportunity here, though. But like I said, I don't want to chase it. See how it's fighting with these lows here? Prior support, broken, retest, failed, retest. You might want to go here. So if I'm going to go on this, breaks this, maybe like 138s. I said I'd rather see the pullback and bounce, but if it wants to break here, we'll go for 138s, kind of this. So the idea being, if it breaks through this level, it's going to run to the next one here, right? Is the idea. And that's 130, just over 138. So if we got there, it would put us in the money. Come on. Here comes the pullback. So we just want to see a quick pullback, and we want to see a reaction off of these highs here, right? We want to see it touch there, and we want to see a clear reaction that it's going to bounce. Clear reaction that this is a new support. Like, you don't want to see anything like, like a half measure or, oh, maybe that's it. No, we want to see a clear reaction. So let's see what it does. It should only take another candle or two. Let me kind of letting the masses know what I'm looking at here, even though they should just be on here with us now. But not everyone can make it. GLW is another good one here. Very volatile. Bloom. All the big names are volatile today. Look at all these. AMD, AMAT, SanDisk, WDC, Corning, Now, Light, Bloom, Nibius, CoreWeave, Coherent, Cerebras, MicroStrategy, Zoom, Iran. A lot of volatility today. All right. Come on, just give us a wick. Like, we want to see it touch it and then just kind of hammer out here, ideally. So if we're going to get into something, it's got to be soon too, because we're going to start approaching a low volatility time of day. And the only thing we want to be in at that time of day is a runner, right? So we want, if we're in a position at that time, we want it to be a position where we're in profit, right? And we're just kind of letting it grind out the rest of the day. Honestly, though, this on SpaceX, if we got into this might be more of like a counter trend, like mean reversion type trade. I mean, if we get a runner, we can let it run, but I could see this being more of like a counter trend, right? So it comes to like here and then turns around. But if it gets here and we're in a 138, we've done very, very well. That might be us. And I wish for more, though. It's not really the reaction that I was looking for. But it's going to turn around. It is what it is, I guess. we can always play the breakout type, right? So if it breaks, we see that it's breaking, we know that it's breaking, we can just kind of go for it then. But this might just be a test. Yeah. Let's see here. There's still a potential resistance though. That's why I wanted to get it off of here, because we could get a better price. By the time it ran at resistance, we might have even gotten a trim in, you know? Might have to move on from it, unfortunately. Oh, all the memory's moving down. SpaceX. Yeah, see, that's my concern there. All right, let's take another look around. SpaceX. I'll set an alarm here. Well, yeah, I'm gonna set an alarm at this low. Right here. Yeah, this is a tough one, honestly. Because if it breaks this, it's gonna break these most likely. But again, like I said earlier, I don't like to chase. All right, let's look somewhere else for now. The more I look at it, and this is why you need to move around too, because the more you stare at one chart, the more likely you are to start seeing something that might not be there, or you kind of talk yourself into taking a trade, but you don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you want to take the trade because the setup's there, and you have, you have the confluence, the confirmation for it. All right, so somebody had asked for NVIDIA. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up to the chat here. So NVIDIA, so retrace wise, is at a solid spot. What's SPY doing? Yikes. Retrace wise, it's at a solid spot for puts on the daily, right? So this is the steepest discount you're going to get before it breaks these highs. So in this area, as you can see, you're going to see some resistance because, the bears are going to try and take some shorts here. Yeah, NVIDIA is just kind of flat. But it's still just kind of pushing. That almost looks like it might be. No. It's still pushing, so it's either going to break or reject. It's going to see some kind of movement here soon. That looks like a short. Yeah. SMH, semiconductors, going for the gap here. So short in NVIDIA wouldn't be a crazy thing. Oh, we just had a Tesla alarm go off. What did we set the Tesla alarm for? And Tesla's just like straight down this morning. That's why we set the alarm. So we set the alarm as it approaches these highs, right? Because this, if you're going to look for a bounce anywhere, it's going to be here, or here. Here first, then here. So this is the first level we marked off, right? 35, like 25 area, and then down at like 10. So if we go to the lower time frames, man, Tesla is just straight down. Completed buyouts of remaining IF metal members in Sweden, huh? Um, hmm. The question is, So I mean, it's pretty on like the 5 and the 1, it's pretty far extended to the downside. So the question is, where does it bounce and when, right? I think it probably comes soon. If we want to try a lotto, we certainly could. Right? So maybe like a 340 call lotto. Stinking SpaceX. Trade options today. Man, should have taken it as soon as I said it. There it goes. Let's see what this 5 does. If this 5 can hold and hammer out here, and even a push up on this 15 could be a solid indication that we're going to get a little bounce at least up to here. And we can just risk it against the low of the day. If it makes a new low, we get out. How'd that 15 close? Not as strong as I would like. Give me a little pullback and go. That would be good. So you got so much strength out of just those 2 candles here already, though. Yeah, see, these kind of things are difficult to predict. Let's see what it does here. Give it a second. Because it stopped just grinding down. Now at least we got some sizable candles. VIX is just doing nothing. There's no volatility. So any little signal off the bottom here would be positive. This one, if we took it, it'd be more of like a lotto type, so size it small. Because we're literally trying to catch the bottom on this. Maybe. What do you think? You guys want to try it? Hey, I'm looking at 340s. Let's give it a shot. Go small. Like I said, don't go crazy on these. All right. Let's see. It's going to give us a bounce here or not. It's got to break here because if it keeps doing this, like these little candles just kind of barely angling up, it'll end up rejecting off of this somewhere. So it's got to break. It's got to break and give us follow through on this 5 minute, ideally, is what we want to see. It's that high, so 37, 37. Yeah, so if it keeps doing this, I may just shut these down at even. We don't want to see that because this tells us that it's going to reject, like it's trying to do now. So it's got 1 more minute in this 5 to kind of make a decision. Keep in mind, this is a new 30-minute candle too. Yeah. This candle's not closed yet, but that's not a great sign. Come on, close strong. Let's see, just a little bounce here at the end. A little push up and hold here would be solid. Come on, strong close. Eh, not great, but not awful. Need to see some new highs here, though. 73, 96, 73, 75. Come on. Like I said, we're coming into a low volume time of day, so we need to see this break soon. So we want to see it above 37 here, ideally on this 1 minute candle. There we go. Now close up there. Come on, you got it. Close strong and continue. It's a nice strong close, perfect. All right, so now above 37.50, ideally above 38 would be beautiful, but we got to see it break both of these. We don't want to see it take one and not the other. All right, so 40.57, so it took one. 48. 7. So this is 2 cents short of this high. We don't want to see it reject there. For sure don't want to see that reject. Where's QQQ at? So we want to see another strong close on this guy. Let's see it above 37.57. We want to see it at least take the high. A close above that would be even better. That's not good. I mean, that's what we don't want to see. Close strong. Yeah, it's not great, unfortunately. Seven, close 9. Yeah, if this doesn't pop green, yeah, it's unfortunate. Come on. Come on, get some strength. There you go. Volume's ticking up. Come on, hold up there. That's a good sign that that popped back up to close green. I mean, it's much better than what we saw down here. Now we want to see the continuation from it. Come on. Come on, break. Go. Go. I'm manifesting again. Go. 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 All right. There's one. There's one. 25. Come on. There we go. There's a new high. 10%. Just give us one nice breakout here is all we really need. Just one nice push. Not like that. Come on. Oh, man, there's some resistance there, clearly. I may end up just shutting this down at even if it's going to keep doing that. Just strong close to this 5 minute. Ideally, if it closes above here, what's this? This is what's holding it down, it looks like. Let's see it close up here. Strong close to that 5 minute. Get up here a little bit. How'd that 5 close? I would have liked more out of this 5, honestly. 3, 6. So now's the time where you start getting concerned about a rejection. So it needs to start taking out highs. Otherwise, it's going to turn around on us. Just got a SpaceX alarm. All right. And I know I said this was lotto sizing, but that doesn't mean I want to hold it to 0. If I can close it at even when I think it's going to reject, I will. I'd rather do that than hold it. You know what I mean? And this makes us think there's resistance there. All right, so there's one high. We need to see it clean close above some of these wicks. Close up here is what we need. All right, we're back in the green, 5%. 41, what's this high? 45. All right, we took this high. I'm not so much concerned with taking highs, but I want to see it close above some of these. That shows that the strength is not just a push, it's continued. There we go. There's 10%. Come on. Get above these guys. This is going to be the problem right here. Hold there and close. If it holds here and closes, we should be in pretty good shape. 3 seconds to go. 2, 1. Solid close. See, last time it rejected. Hopefully we want to see this solid close and continue. Come on, give us some continuation. Continuation towards these guys here. These guys are the problem at the moment. Strength kind of reset here, but one more nice push. This is a problem though, the fact that we're getting these solid closes, but we're not continuing. But again, like I said, this is kind of a counter trend, so we should expect to see some resistance to it. What was that high? 37.81. See it above 38. That'd be gold. 6. Come on. There you go. And this is out of the money. So every time it pulls back a little bit, it loses more than it gains. That's why we need to see it kind of pop and get closer to our strike, then we should see more progress on the contract itself. These guys here are kind of the issue. Next stop will be here, and that'll be much closer to our strike. All right, back at close to 10%. Ugh. Come on, close strong. All right, keep making new highs. That's all we need. A little further push and it should break these. Break these and we should get a nice trim. All right, 37.90. Come on, get us over 338. Just give us that kind of quick blast off momentum move. This is going to be the close to a 15. Looks like it's going to be an inside candle. There's 38. It touched it. And at 38, it's a tough spot, it looks like. Come on, close strong. Yeah, volume's dropping out. You can see how it's just kind of tapering down here on us. The lack of volume is going to kill us. Honestly, I'll be honest, I may just punch out with a small profit here because if we don't get the move soon, time is really going to start to eat us up. So let's see this just crack right through. That would be awesome. 15 is going to want to, it needs to make a new high, even if it's going to turn around, most likely. Just need to get up in this area, that's all. $37.80, E1. This is 38. Take us above there, and then you should be able to head for this. Break 38, you should be able to give us 39. Come on. Don't stop now. SPY is trying to bounce too. Come on, go take that high. Don't hesitate on it. Like I said, volume's starting to dry up is the problem. All right, so equal highs there. Keep pushing. Get over this 38.10 maybe. All right, we're definitely in an active area. You can see the way it's kind of jerking back and forth here. Buyers and sellers having a little fight. I don't like the equal high. Yeah, don't like that at all. All right, guys. Come on, you gonna go back up? I was about to cut it there. But if you want to go make a new high, I'm good with that. I'll hold on for another minute or two. I don't mind holding on for another minute or two. Nope, don't do that. This deep wick is a problem if this closes red. Yeah, I'm going to close it even, guys. That's exactly why, right there. And this is why I say, you know, protect your capital. Is it going to bounce in our favor now? Maybe, but, you know, better to live and fight another day. You know what I mean? So it was worth a shot, and it was a lotto, but yeah, it's worth a shot there. All right, so what else you guys want to take a look at? We can take a swing at something real quick, but like I said, volume's about to drop out. Hi, Scott. Hi. How are you? So, I mean, we're kind of 1-1-1 today. One win, no losses, one even. Watch, it's going to break now, isn't it? I'm going to be so mad. I don't think it is, though. I think it's just going to kind of, it's a fake out. Well, maybe not. Might not be a fake out. Well, I don't want to watch anymore. It's just going to make me mad. SpaceX, on the other hand, here's that retest we were looking for. 1, 2. Let's see if it holds here. If it holds, maybe it wants to go. Maybe. Watching SpaceX again. What were we looking at before on SpaceX? 38s, I think. Today, yeah, I think we were looking at 138 calls here. Gotta be careful though, like I said, as we get into a low volume time, we don't want to we don't want to get caught in that chop. So maybe we pull our targets a little closer. So rather than 138, maybe we move it to 137. Yeah, looks like everything's kind of slowing down and pulling back a little bit. Yeah, that's just chop on SpaceX. It looks like, I don't know if I want to, well, it's got 10 minutes to go on this. What's this high? 37.21, 37.32, down. Inside candle, it's that low. 650. Maybe. If this holds one more time, you ready? Watch those 137s. 137s is what I'm thinking about. If it can hold this one more time here, maybe we get our bounce, right? Kind of like this, as it keeps pushing into this. Maybe we get our bounce, and if we do, this 30-minute may turn around and try and go take that high. Where are we at here? 68. Come on. Give me something to work with here. Two minutes left on this 5. Where does 5 open? 36.79. So this was the 5-minute open, and that's a little bit of a concern. So we're going to pull back here. If this can hold that low, or even just jab one more here real quick, holding that low and turning around on the last minute of the 5 would work too. Actually, this hourly is about to close. That's going to be an inside candle. 36.46, 36.53. Come on. We just want a reaction anywhere in this area. It can react off of this, it can react off of this, but we want to see a reaction. One sec here. I'm getting a entry post ready. Right now it's just kind of chop, chop, chop on these highs. Make it definitely push a little lower, still hold. Again, that deep, when you see a deep wick like that, this isn't closed yet, but when you see a deep wick into a candle, right, testing deep into the body, but then it turns all the way around, it's not usually a good sign. And it keeps pushing up, like, so it wants to try and go. So maybe we just wait for that break. I'm just afraid it might reject off of this. Top side of this guy right here. All right, so let's see if we can get the continuation here. Let's give it a shot. Go small. 137 calls. Either it's going to continue on this candle or it's going to reject and head right back down on us. We'll see. It's got to get clear of this though. All right. No, don't do that. I'll get to 36.90. 36.98 is the high there. And all that volume that just came in there too. 36.98. 36.90. That's a rough rejection, but it kind of recovered. We need to see it bounce here. But it's nice to see some volume come in, especially around now. So say it just kind of popped, consolidate, and we just want to see it pop again, get to the next level there. Basically, it needs to get in the money for us to clear this resistance. If it gets in the money, it should run a decent amount further. This guy opened at 83, high in 90. We're at 82. Come on, push. Come on. 85. There you go, 87. Nice push. Now break up over 90 and take us in the money. 89. Ugh, come on. Break it. Break it. 90. It's an equal high. Come on. Don't leave that equal high there. I hate it when it does that. I feel like it kind of rejects every time it does that. Come on. Push. Even 1 cent. Just don't leave the equal high. I mean 91 or 92. Both of these wicks here are at 92. This one's at 98. There we go. 96, 99. Keep going. 15%. There's 20%. Come on, break this high. Give us 32. Take a trim at 20%. All right, we are cooking now, huh? Where are we at now? Got to get over this high. If it breaks this, it should run through these. These are kind of the problem here, but see, it continues. Our high here is 37.20. This high is 37.32. Do not want to see this turn around here. So this is, it's trying to take the high. Yep, there's that high, 32. It's trying, 10 seconds. Can it get there? 20, 21, 32. All right, so breakout inside. Now we want to see it continue to the next level here. Nice clean breakup is what we want. All right, so we got our new high there. Almost. A couple more cents and we take this high. Come on. 30%. Come on, break it. Got to get through that. And then these. Oh, it did take it by 1 penny. It took it. All right, strong close up here is what we need. Strong close for it to try and get through this. All right, sitting at plus 25% right now. There you go. Push towards the high. We're going to close. Push, push, push. Nice close. Good close. All right, so open. A little penny gap down here, but let's see a little continuation. These guys here are the real rejection points. So we want like 37.50 to really start clearing those. If we can clear these, it should be able to run towards like 38 or higher. Tough though. We're not getting a whole lot of follow through in either direction right now. And that's just kind of the story of this market recently, right? It's no follow through, no continuation, just kind of blah. All right, so it took the high barely. We want to see it hold this. So we want to see this candle hold. So at this point, we're not going to let these go red. What's that? 25 and 26. Take another trim here for 20% just in case. We're going to book a little more profit. Just in case it's going to turn around. We have our upside targets, but just in case it does turn around to even, at least we booked a little more profit on this, right? So that's kind of the way you want to do it. Like if you start to get unsure and it looks like it's faltering a little bit, just de-risk. Take a little bit more profit off the table just to protect yourself. If it breaks, fine, all good. You're in, deeper into profit. But if it pulls back, at least you booked some of that profit, and that's an opportunity that you didn't miss. All right, strong close we need here. Come on, let's see strong close. Close green. There you go. All right, so now we need to go take these highs. Don't think it wants to though. Gotta hold here. Got your retest of this. Got your retest on the strength. That's my EMA that I just turned on. Kind of gives you a little eyeball on the trend. So we're still a little bit in the green. If this closes like this, I might just cut the rest, take the rest of the profit, and move on. We want to see it pop back up above the EMA. Close strong, a little test and bounce. What it's doing is it's testing where it broke out here, trying to confirm that. That's good. So this, we want to see this wick here hold. If it breaks lower, that means it's probably going to go through here. I'm just posting saying don't let these go red. Like I said, we want to hold on to the profits that we've made so far. And none of these trades have been huge so far, but when you put them together, you put together, this and then a little bit we made on CoreWeave. It's a decent little profit for the day, right? No huge winners like the 600% we got on one of them here to one day, or was that on the other live? But yeah, I mean, regardless, it's not like the multipliers that we've seen in the past, but small profits can definitely compound. Gotta hold here. Gotta hold. That was a new 5-minute candle there. Don't like the look of that. This makes a new low. Could be a problem. There's the new low. It's got to bounce from there. Otherwise, it could be an issue. Got to bounce from here. What was that low? 86. Our breakout low was 80. All right, still holding around like 5%. Come on, bounce. And like I said, so this is a low volume time, so like the moves are going to be a little more exaggerated. They'll kind of stretch out a little longer, and and the problem with that is the time just kind of eats up your contracts while while the candles play their games. There you go, close green. Now pop higher. What was that high? 99. So get us back in the money. Let's see, let's take us back in the money and just kind of bounce. Come on, you're so close. So close. 37. Well, it touched it at least. And this is why I went with the close for strike. While it's doing all of this, we're still holding value on the contract. If I had taken the 138s or 140s or whatever, they would be losing much more value with these couple of red candles. But because we're so close to in the money and actually back in the money now, the contracts hold their value if you see that in the ones that you're holding. So that's what's advantageous and something that you really want to look at as you get further into the day on a day trade. We didn't take this one till almost noon, so yeah. So rather than taking my original target up here near 38 or 39, we took the closest one here. And they were cheaper because it was a little deeper in the day, like we said. So, all right, this is going to be our bounce that takes us to this next level here, or what? Or is it just going to fail here and turn down? Sorry, I need a drink. Excuse me. Come on, give us 37.50. Tough resistance here. This only took our prior high by a penny. I'm losing my voice here. All right, we're back close to 20% now. Close. Come on, give us a strong close. You guys see when I keep talking about the close, the closes definitely tell us something, right? So this strong close told us that there's a good chance it was going to break that high. This weak close tells us that it's, going to test this low most likely, and it might be, yeah, I'm going to punch out with the rest, a little bit of profit all out here. Not going to risk it. All right, well, I mean, like I said, they weren't huge wins, but we got a couple wins today. You know, and that's how you do it. Sorry guys, like coughing in your ear here, but that's how you do it. You know, especially with day trades, you got to be decisive. Yeah, Tesla, we were right, but again, we're just kind of protecting capital, and that's okay. Firm, flat, SPY, QQQ, VIX popped, and now it's dropping, huh? Let me look at the internals here again. SPY still looks a lot stronger. Yeah, definitely SPY today. The heat map looking like now that we're a little further in the day. Financials are starting to look decent. SK still looks good. SanDisk still looks good. Energy, gold, Tesla, Google flat. What's SK doing? Yeah, everything's just starting to kind of grind again, guys. Volume isn't great. Yeah. Kind of blah again today, unfortunately. Now it gets these crazy, like, exaggerated pullbacks, and I don't know what it's doing recently, but man, look at CoreWeave. See, I don't like, especially when I'm on here, I don't like holding red, right? Because I don't want you guys to take losses. So we're conservative. We'll cut them off at break even like we just did. Rather than hold into the red, you do miss some opportunities and stuff like that. Like CoreWeave did go deeper after we cut it, but we made profit on it. We hit like 30% or more on that one. And look at it though. Look at it hold this low. Let me see something here. I'll have to watch CoreWeave into the end of the day here. What's Palantir doing? So I think I'm done trading for the day, just because, like I said, we're coming into that really low volume time. So we don't want to get in something that's just going to grind on us. What would QQQ lows look like for resistance? What would they look like for resistance? What are the lows? I'm not sure, 100% sure what your question is, to be honest with you, but I mean, it's pretty straightforward when you're looking at trends and support and resistance levels. The most basic thing you can do is just look at highs and lows, especially high time frame ones, right? So if we look at QQQ, don't mind all the rainbow colors here. Let me take them off. These are NFP levels. We want to see it close above 732 ideally. That's what we need up here. Close up here. It opened up, so it opened above that. So if this can turn around green, that'd be QQQ's first close above all these NFP levels. That would be a very bullish sign. Does look like it's breaking out too, though. So, prior rejection area, right? So highs, 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 breakout. It might retest that area. It does. Let me take these NFP levels off. Make it a little easier to see. So you can see here, consolidation down and break. Weekly's breaking out. So this chart does look bullish. It's just, again, the continuation is pretty hard to get recently. But we can see all these prior highs, this V-shaped recovery area. Try, break. Now it's retesting it. A hold here, and it goes probably 750 towards all-time high. So gotta hold this level here around like 27, 28. I think if it doesn't, next stop would probably be down towards 710. So Yeah. Let's see. Are we going over Meta? No, I'll try and let me run through and see if I did look at Nvidia for those that were asking. Apple calls. Let me try and run through the requests real quick. I don't want to leave you guys without an answer. So Apple does see heavy volume. You know, it's not doing much after this strong run up. It's got this gap above it from where it dropped after earnings. It's trying to hold this low off of these, maybe that gap there. Did it hold this low? 300.01. Yeah, so 300 seems to be where this wants to hold. If it continues to hold there, you could definitely see a pop into the gap. So, I mean, that might be worth trying towards the end of the day, right? If we can see some kind of confirmation that it's still holding that 300 area, maybe we go long from there towards towards the gap, towards up here, or this gap here even. Yeah, so it's got this little trend. It's chopping down here. But yeah, this area here around 300. It's on the list for today. Good catch, whoever saw that. And I'm not surprised that there's a lot of calls coming on that because it's at a very, it's at a key area. So there's potential there for both sides, long and short, right? It could bounce from that key support and run long. It can break that support and drop further. So I'm not surprised if there's high volume and big flow there, for sure. Yeah, I don't even know where I saw that. Sorry, it's hard to keep up with the chat and the charts. All right, Rocket Lab, USAR. Rocket Lab, they just picked up a Space Force contract, so they're doing pretty well. I like Rocket Lab. They're consolidating right now on the 200-day moving average. Again, I was looking at this last night. For those of you that don't know, well, I won't get into that. Say I do free charting lessons. But you can always DM me with questions. We'll just say that. I don't want to promote anything here, but you can always DM me with specific chart questions. Feel free. Again, all of you are here because you're on a server that I'm on, so you have access. Like, you know how to get in touch with me. Ping me in the chats. You know, I always try and answer all questions. Like, I'm here to primarily to teach you guys is what I want to do. So, so Rocket Lab looks similar. What were we just looking at with that V-shaped recovery? It looks like that kind of V-shaped recovery here. Chop, chop, chop. What was that we just looked at that had that? Because this is like the same exact thing. Now, QQQ, right? Drop, bounce, you get that kind of V shape here, and then it chops at the same resistance, deciding if it can break or not. Rocket Lab's kind of in a similar position, right? You got, it was a prior support that broke, right? So it broke, retested it, made it resistance. So you got resistance, then you got this kind of V-shaped recovery area. Now it's trying the same resistance again, chop, chop, chop. And we're looking for the same breakout here, like we got on QQQ. So we want to see it kind of chop, chop, chop. And see how this made higher lows? You get some clue that it's holding, right? It gives you a clue that, all right, this is the signal. We've held the low enough times. Now we're going to go high. So we look for that signal a lot of the times, and this is why you see a lot of traders enter right towards the end of the day. A lot of the times, that's when the main volume comes in. So like I'm looking at like the volume on my market internals on Thinkorswim, and you can see like on the S&P starting at about 215 is when the volume really starts to drive up. Same thing, kind of the same thing on QQQ. So you look for, that's why a lot of traders will wait till the end of the day. You see where that volume is taking us. Where's the market pushing this? Is this going to break through that resistance, or is it going to reject off of that resistance? And sometimes you don't know until right up at the end of the day. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. I already have it on a list, like on a swing list. I have shares here too, so I may start. I want to see it break, and then I can start selling some decently priced covered calls. Um, so looking at the volume profile, this area right here, like this, and then where we're at now is kind of the bulk of the price action, the bulk of the resistance. That's the other thing too. If it can break these, it should have a little smoother sailing up here. There's not as much resistance, you know, and the momentum looks great. It's about to break through that neutral area. Yeah, we just don't want to see kind of that little dip above neutral and then drop again. But it does look good. So we're looking for, what are we looking for a good signal for entry on this guy? Or do we just take another day trade here? Oh man, there's so many good setups out there. You know, pretty solid hold here. Yeah, it's in a tough spot though. It's in such a tight range. We just want to see it break the range, right? So you almost have like here and right here. They're so tight. That's why you kind of see it ping-ponging back and forth. So we want to see maybe like here. I'm going to set an alarm here, just above 81. If it can break that today, I'll watch this into the end of the day to see what it's going to do, if it can potentially run for us. So let's see. High, right, low, high, low, high. So the trend is a little off here. All right. This is technically lower. So it could extend now. 86, 95, 100 for targets. Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on this guy for sure. Other ones were USAR and STDN. USAR. A lot of these like metals type companies are doing very well. The government just took a stake in quite a few of them. Magnets are kind of the hot thing apparently. This one looks good too. Again, another instance of that kind of like V-shaped recovery type, right? Resistance, quick bounce, right back into it. Now it's breaking. That's a good call for whoever put this one up. This one looks solid. So if we're looking for just like a mean reversion and not like a follow through, new high, we could look for 23 or 25 in that range. This one looks good though. That's a nice catch. I didn't see this one. Breaking the high. Yep. So just broke this high. It's into these though. This is going to be a tough resistance area. Here, here, here. So that's going to be a tough resistance. If it can break it, it's got quite the run in it. It could run right to those targets I just marked fairly easily. So this is another one we can watch to the end of the day. This is nice too because this one, it's not too expensive. Like your contracts can be fairly cheap. Looks like it wants to continue right now though. Yeah, good call there. So, all right, what was the other one? STDN, I think, right? Standard Nuclear. Energy has been doing pretty well recently. I'm not familiar with this one. Oh, this one's pretty new. Whoops. Man, cup and handle developing or what? The heck? That's weird. I don't know. So yeah, it could be developing a cup and handle. Be careful with like an IPO high on this if you're not already in it, but you can see breakout, consolidate, and go. Yeah, be careful with that one. Let me see something here. What's Demon doing? I see him posting stuff here. He grabbed the Tesla call for next week, which I may do that at the end of the day also. It depends if this bounce can hold or not. Like we said, we marked it because we wanted to see it bounce off of here. That's why we went long on the day trade. Now, if it can sustain that, we can shoot for this high for next week. So, all right, let's see. Let me see if I can get the rest of the requests done. I don't want to leave you guys hanging. Netflix. Oh, I meant to look at Netflix. Yeah, Netflix and Amazon. Netflix, because what's his face took a solid position in this, right? Let's look at the high time frame because I've been waiting for Netflix to kind of show us that it's going to bounce, right? So let's go to the high time frame on this. Let's go up to the monthly. So what I have here is I used my fib tool, my fib retracement tool, to mark out this full move on the monthly, right? So this goes back a couple years, but this was like one straight move up, right? So that gives you kind of a perspective of where the bigger overall move is for the company itself, not just recent price action. So very bullish. Recent price action has been rough, right? But it's very bullish long term, which is why now you're starting to see institutional investors get into it because when you look at this fib tool, it's quite simple, right? On the monthly, it's dropped right into this pocket where is kind of like your high probability trade, right? So you're in this pocket that we look for on the fib. It's retesting this prior high here, right? This is the old all-time high area. Momentum has reset, right? So it can only get overextended so far before it kind of has to come back down and then reset. So momentum is resetting. We got a signal here, right? Down, 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 indecision, pop. Did it take this high? 78.40. Yep. So now we had an indecision candle, this doji, on last month's, and now this month has taken this high, right? So this could be a full-on reversal type, especially, and you get a reversal like this on a monthly, that's going to be a few months to the upside. That's a solid play right there. Looking forward to break this high, which it just did. Netflix looks really solid. So let's map out a full equity trade here because I think I would want to go equity on this. So if we enter here looking for the breakout long here, what do we do? So let's open this up. Let me take this retracement off because I want to put another one on. All right, so we've talked about it before. If you're going to go long, you should know where the short sellers are going to be. So let's mark out this full move, right, with our fib retrace tool. So just like we saw institutional investors looking in this pocket for the long-term move up, you're going to see shorter-term investors or short sellers looking at that same pocket in this area, right, from this prior move down. They're looking to short it back to the low. So that's our 50% retrace. That's the top of that pocket. That's not bad though. Even just that takes us to like close to $110. So that's like a 50% move. So that's not bad. And then you can always hold a runner beyond it. How about stop loss? Where do we want to put our stop? Well, I would say if we go down to a little lower time frame, you figure here was prior support. Let's get this guy off of there. This was a prior support that then broke, right? And then it struggled to get through it, finally broke through. So if this is the level, right? Support, flip to resistance, still resistance, so it finally broke out and retested it here. I would say we want this retest to hold. We don't want to let it go another level down, because if it breaks here for the next level, we could just re-enter down here. So I would say we move this guy up. Maybe here. Just about there. And that makes it 4.5 to 1. So for every dollar you're risking, your potential reward is 450. That's a solid risk to reward. I'll take that every time. And actually, I think I am going to take this trade. For options, options are also, well, an option. So next stop is going to be around here, I think. 80, then up here. What's the 50%? We go to a higher time frame on this guy. So if we're going to swing this, because this does have a lot of upside potential. Actually, we could look at, I wonder what, we could look at equity leaps on this too, rather than just shares. That might be a better option, at least for me. It's different for everybody. So, sorry, I'm looking at a contract here. So if we're looking at like 100 to 110, or even if we just shoot for the gap here at $100, let's see what they look like. So maybe January. All right. All right, so, nope. All right, so let's look at $100. January, $100. Sorry, I know you guys can't see this, so I'll try and be quick here. I just want to see the numbers on it. Just want to see what the numbers look like. All right, so January, $100 calls. Wow, they got a 10 to 1 delta to theta. That's 11 to 1. That's nice. Huge open interest there too. I think that might be us. January 15th, $100 calls, and they're only like 215. They're not bad at all. Not bad at all. Let me see what's being bought on Netflix today. That's another one I may just take, to be honest. Yeah, that's a solid trade. Whoever mentioned Netflix, definitely a solid one. So I'm probably going to take that. Yeah, what else? So let's take a look at Amazon. I like Google too. I've been watching that where it is, but it doesn't seem to want to cooperate at the moment. Actually, I may even look, maybe I push that out a little further, just January, but all right, so Amazon, big thing here with Amazon is this gap, the earnings gap. Looks like it's ready to test it. Maybe this area like 250. Yeah, it's slowly kind of making its way down. So I think it might move a little lower. I would look for this area here for a potential bounce if you're looking to go long. So look for it to touch that area, confirm, and then go. It's kind of my take on Amazon. I don't trade Amazon a whole lot. It's tough. It moves slow. So you got to kind of adjust a little bit. Thanks for looking at CoreWeave. Can you take a look at Marvel for sure? I'm not even sure if everybody's still here, but I'm trying to go through them as I can. So Marvel, just like a lot of the others, it's been pulling back. And again, we see, let me remove some of this stuff so you can see a little better. So again, Same place, same setup, right? I got the full move marked out, and look where it's at. Pull back right into that same pocket we keep looking at, just above its 200-day moving average, right? So it may kind of chop around in here a little bit, and then retest here. It's got to get a breakthrough. Maybe wait for the 200-day to catch up, and then you'll see kind of a momentum move where it pops above all three moving averages. That's kind of your signal that it's ready to go, I think. Marvel's on my watch list, so yeah. All right, so we looked at Tesla. What's the chance a firm completes a head and shoulders pattern after dropping down from today's high? Like the original one we were looking at? I mean, it could, but like if you zoom out, I wouldn't be surprised to see this push into the end of the day. It really depends how today closes, to be honest with you. It looks pretty strong right now, though. So I think it's going to depend on the daily close, right? If the day closes strong, then it could easily, the day closes strong, it could easily push through this resistance really and head for the highs, to be honest. That's all that's really between it and its all-time highs. Tesla, CoreWeave, SPY. Took CoreWeave and went up 40% quick. Nice. Glad you got it. I don't know how far back in the chat I am, but I'm trying to catch up here real quick. Long term, what are your favorite ETFs? I like some of the round hill ones, but they're very like tech heavy, like DRAM and Light. The Neo Cloud one is good too, but they're very sector focused. Remember that. Yeah. Tesla calls, now puts. Duplicate tab. Duplicate tab and move to the main screen. Was that about the heat map? How to show both tabs? I don't know about now puts because remember it did this a bunch here. Like when it pulls back hard, right? But that doesn't mean that it's rejecting. It just goes quickly to its support, right? Push up, quickly to support. Push up, quickly. Same here. Quickly to support, new high, right back to support. I'm going to wait for it to break out, to be honest with you, at this point. I have some shares still, so I'm good with holding those. Aside from that, I think I'm going to take a break from now. It moves, but it's been tough, and we've gotten plenty of wins on it too, and I don't want to keep pushing it and give them back. We'll wait for some clear movement. I think we looked at Oracle, NVIDIA, we looked at Apple, SPY, Meta, and SoFi. So Meta and me don't get along so well. I don't trade it much. This is what I've been looking at on Meta. It's kind of range bound here for a while. Right now it's sitting right in the middle of that range, which makes it tough. But this support's right in the middle of the range. Well, this was a support. Now it's a resistance. See, it hit it here, here. We got that V-shaped recovery here again. So same thing with Meta. A breakthrough, you can see here, this resistance is pushing on this. A breakthrough here, and it should head for the top of its range. So against my better judgment, I'll set an alarm here, looking for Meta. So if we do that, we can say look for maybe like 690 to 700 calls or something like that. Put a note here. It says breakout. And then calls to, man, I can't type today. Calls to 690 to 700. Question mark. Apply. Create. And that's how you start kind of organizing yourself and managing. You can't watch all these charts at the same time. So chart alarms will become one of your best tools and your best friend. Are we looking at day trade SK Hynix? I was looking at it. At this point, I think the volume's too low to do much day trading. It's going to pick up here in a little bit, but I'm going to have to jump off before then. We looked at Amazon. Bloom. Bloom is on this on my volatility scanner here. There goes, look at SpaceX. That one went and hit our target too. And I got to stop being so conservative with these. I mean, I can't complain. We made money. Maybe what we should do in the future, right, when it does this, when it starts to pull back on us, rather than jump out at break even, if we got a couple trims in like we did on CoreWeave and SpaceX, maybe we just trim down to a small position, or we trim down to a runner. Oh, if the runner goes red, not a big deal. We close it a little red, we still profit on the position. But if it runs, we get this. This would have been a nice little win for us. Let me look and see. I mean, we already had nice little wins. That would have been a killer win. And actually, you know what? No, I'm kind of glad. Yeah. So it would have been like 60% here. But now it's back below. The contract price is below where we exited, right? But we exited like here. It's the same price here. That's what's tough about these when you start pushing towards the end of the day. Like I said, the time really eats at your contracts. So you need active movement in your direction. You know, here, let me do this on a full chart here. Sorry, you won't be able to see that little one. I know it's hard enough as it is. All right, so Bloom. I got a lot of stuff on this chart, huh? All right, so let's do this. Let's get rid of that guy. Let's get rid of the trend line. All right, a little better, right? All right, let's close the object tree. All right, so same thing here with Bloom, you know, right? We traced out the entire move. This is the 50%. Again, this is why I keep kind of emphasizing tracing out these full high time frame moves, because here's another one. Look where it fell, right in that same pocket that we keep looking at and talking about. Here's where it fell and it bounced. I mean, how many of these have we seen just today? So right on top of old, they're all the same exact setups. Everyone we've talked about, right? Here's the old all-time high, chop, 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 breakout. Here's your fib retrace for the whole move. The fib pocket falls right where the prior all-time highs are. We land in the pocket, we touch the highs, off it goes. I mean, how many of these have we seen? Like, it's not a coincidence, you know? I know some people, I had the guy the one day when I was doing a live not too long ago on one of the bigger servers in the live. I was doing it in the VC, and he unmuted his mic and he's like, you're just drawing lines on a chart. And it's not just drawing lines on a chart. This is not a coincidence, you know? And you guys are asking, you're making the requests. You know, it's not like I'm showing you what I want you to see. You're making the requests and they just all look the same. The pullback on all of them has been the same thing, right into this fib pocket on top of prior all-time highs, you know, moving averages starting to compress together. Same thing. They all look pretty much the same, and it's going to be the same thing here with Bloom. You know, maybe a little more of a pullback, waiting for these moving averages to catch up. You're going to get that pop above them and off it goes. Just got to be careful for same thing with the retrace in the other direction. So it's already, and look at that, it's already where it topped out is a 50% retrace of this move. So we're looking forward to kind of get that bounce and hopefully break through it. So what else we got? Oh, we did SpaceX. Tesla went crazy. Sure did. Hopefully maybe some of you guys held it. I know you don't all listen to my entries and exits, so I'm sure some of you held Tesla and CoreWeave and SpaceX. You know what I mean? So I'm sure some of you guys got some wins on those. What are you buying of Netflix? So I think I'm going to do the January $100 call. I mean, that one kind kind of ticks all the boxes, and it's much cheaper than buying shares. So I think I'm gonna do, like I said, January 27 $100 call is what I'm looking at. What's your opinion on MP Materials? MP is another one I think that's benefiting from the government investments. Here's another setup like this. We're seeing a lot of these setups too, this V-shaped recovery, right? Resistance, rejection with a big drop, big bounce, right back to the same area, right? I mean, I know it's kind of hard to miss, but I'll show you anyway. Here's your V-shaped recovery, right? Here's your top. This is your high volume area. If it can, whoops, I hate that. My marker's like the only thing that doesn't turn off on its own. So you see the high volume there, like you can't miss it, all this. So a pop here and this thing just runs, like absolutely runs. So this is another one, if it breaks, could be a good candidate for an equity leap, right? So let's do this. So if we were looking for an equity leap on this, we want to see, and look at this, it just popped above its moving averages too. They just need to get turned up, which might take a little while. But we do the same thing. We can trace it backwards, always left to right, just like you're reading. Low to high, high to low. So this would be your optimal target. So it's already moved quite a bit, but I mean, honestly, that's still 30% from where it is now. $20 on a $60 stock. Yeah, it looks like it just broke too. Look at this. You had kind of a, let me see if it looks better on the 1 hour. Yeah. So you see you had this kind of sideways chop. You had a resistance area here. These lows. Right, so this low and this low, right? Look, if I put my cursor on it, look where it lands over here. Actually, this white line is from the volume profile is kind of showing you too. So now it's broken out. It's got this. This is going to be the tougher resistance here. This, well, I guess it's kind of through these. These were probably part of this and this, so it might not be too bad. But we just want a sign that it's breaking through. If it does, ideally, we'd like to see a pullback and test of this high. So pull back here, enter, and then bounce. So I'm going to set an alarm. Set an alarm here to kind of keep an eye on it. So I'd be looking to target like the $75 to $80 range on this guy, I think, for an equity leap, or if you want to do shares, that's up to you. Looks solid though. Most of them are starting to pick up. You look at SpaceX again, it broke. I know it did. We talked about this before. Like, there's some people that just, as I call them out, they just take them because I overthink them sometimes, and that's one of my. And I know that's one of my faults. But I tend to overthink, and I miss opportunities because of it. But yeah, it looks solid. It looks solid to climb all the way back to where we had it marked here earlier. Right? Yeah, to like 140. Yep, looks solid to it. Should have held on. Should have held on to all three of our trades, apparently. That's all right. Like I said, you can't be mad about getting wins and making money. Sure, could we have made more? Absolutely. But, you know, we do exactly what I was doing here. We look at the trades, see how we can improve, and we try and implement that next time. Now, that's what learning to trade is. Can you check out Alloy? ALOY? Sure can. Whoops. Not too familiar with it. I think I may have seen this before. Yeah, it's a small one. $1 billion market cap, engaged in the rebuilding of domestic supply chain and resilience for rare earth elements and magnets. Okay. It's involved in recycling, mining, oxide production, mineralization, founded in 2011. So it's a small cap. So it's it's a mid, no, not a mid cap. Mid cap is 2 billion and over, I believe. So this is considered like a small cap. But it's hard to find the ones that run into the mid and then large cap. But if you can, man, at $1 billion market cap, there is so much room for growth. But you can see it was like pre-revenue back here. So it's just getting into reporting here. So, this one would be something that I would consider like a long-term investment. You're looking at the fundamentals of the company and base your trade on that. As long as those fundamentals hold and those valuations continue to reach, goals that they set and things that you're looking for, you hold on to the trade. If the company falters or they make changes you don't like, then you get out. But something like this, you might want to base on fundamentals long term. Chart wise, it doesn't hurt to add technicals to that. If you can kind of line both up, then you have a solid trade. This guy might want to break out though. It's hard to predict with these too. It's seen a lot of volume recently though. A lot of volume. It can be hard to predict with guys like this because, any kind of little news, any kind of like deal they make, contracts, things like that, can just blow them up. They can just start flying, but there's no way to predict when those happen. So that's why I say go by the fundamentals, go by the chart. So we looked at Netflix. What's your opinion on MP, Alloy, Netflix, SpaceX, Netflix? I look at YouTube chats. It just takes me a little bit to catch up because I'm looking at the charts too. Netflix is so far out because of good data and slow mover. So I think you're asking why. I think you're asking why am I looking at a contract so far out? So what I'm looking at is an equity leap. So basically, I'm buying that instead of shares. So let me pull it back up. So you can buy shares here. Excuse me. You can buy shares here, and let's say 100 shares is going to cost you a little short of $8,000, right? And then you can sit on them, and it's nice. You can sit on them, and you don't have to worry about theta decay or anything like that, and it just kind of moves. And this is a big enough move where it could be worth buying shares. It's like a 50% move. If it ends up to the highs, it's like, pretty much double money. But it can take quite a while. A lot of people don't have that kind of money to tie up, or they use it trading actively elsewhere. So what you can do is you can buy an equity leap. So you date it out, usually like 6 months or more, but 4 or 5 months can be, but you're buying that. So each contract basically gives you control over 100 shares. It gives you a similar return that the 100 shares would. But in this instance, if I'm buying a $100 call dated out to January, I'm only paying $100 or $200 or so for control over 100 shares. Whereas to get that control over 100 shares and return of those 100 shares in straight equity, it would cost me like 8,000 compared to the 200. So you can get similar returns, but the trade-off is the theta, right? And the theta and the expiration date, right? You're on a clock. So that's the big difference, but you can leverage it more by getting equity leaps. So yeah. He's in chat reading flow state right now. How do I get these lines on my trading view? Which ones? Not sure which ones you're asking about, but I can show you real quick. So basically all your tools are going to be over here. If you're on mobile, the toolbar is going to be across the bottom. You'll see the little pencil, like the little edit pencil. If you click that, all the tools are in there and in these different menus. This top one here is trend tools, basically like trend lines and horizontal line, which is a line straight across the screen. horizontal ray, like you fix it to one point and then it extends out to the rest of the chart, that kind of thing. Vertical lines. The main ones I use is the trend line, horizontal line, and the ray. And then I'll get into the channels a little bit too. And here's the fib retrace tools. It's the next one. But they're all here. Mess with them. You can get free accounts on TradingView if you don't already have one. And I encourage people to mark up your charts. If it doesn't look like right, you can just delete it. But the more you mark your charts, it's practice is what it is. And if you have any questions, if you want to mark up a chart, and you can go, if you're on the web version, you can go up here to the little camera, or just take a snapshot, and you can either copy the image or you can create a link for it. Mark up your chart and send it to me. I'm happy to look at it and tell you what I think. Maybe, you know what I mean? Help you improve it a little bit. I got no problem with that. Again, that's what I'm here for. And people do it all the time. I get DMs every day, about all this kind of stuff. So I don't mind at all. Who's going in on MP? What's your opinion on Marvel? I think we just looked at that a bit ago, but Marvel, like most of the semis, I think it needs a little bit of time, but it is breaking. It bounced in the same area off of prior highs in that fib pocket, and now it's kind of contending with this gap and the moving averages at the moment. It's picking up strength though, like a lot of them are. So this is the problem with a lot of them, right? The strength is weak. It needs to get up here in the bullish area, then it can really start running again. It's basically what we're looking at for those. Winscott, for taking time to read all the chats. I try. And I'm sorry, guys. I know sometimes it takes me a while to catch up, but I do catch up, so. But it's hard to watch the charts and the chat at the same time. So especially if we're looking for a trade or we're in a trade, of course, I'm going to be a little more focused on the charts. And so does ServiceNow has a chance to fall next week? Yeah, we had talked about that a couple times. I got totally out of all my now positions except for a handful of shares. So I bought shares down here. Right, so I bought shares down here, and I sold a good bulk of them here. So I'm still holding on to a handful, watching to see what it's going to do. Could it turn down next week? Absolutely. Could this turn into like a nesting head and shoulders type situation? Absolutely, it could. So that's why I exited everything except for the shares. It's got a lot of strength right now, though. So for this to turn into like that head and shoulders type, it's going to need a significant drop, like significant. I don't know that that's going to happen, but it could surely get a retest back down to here, retest, and then go. So be careful. That's why with this, I exited the rest of my calls. They were all profitable to one extent or another. The 120s were really nice. We were in a runner on that. The 130s, we got a couple trims, and then we exited the rest at break even. And I had some some leveraged ETF shares in my small port. I sold those off this morning for like 30% too, because it's showing us that it's unsure what it wants. This freaking thing, because it's unsure what it wants to do. This here, all this hesitation, I mean, it could just be, yeah, see the weekly is looks like it's gonna end as a little doji. All this chop in here tells us that there's definitely a resistance up here. The 130 area is a resistance. And it's hesitating. It does this a lot too, right? Look, kind of did it here, did it a lot back here when it was trying to decide what it was gonna do. So the question is it gonna hold? I would think so. If this holds, I would expect it to. 3 tries here at the same area. If it holds, I said I'm out, but I may swing something over the weekend. We'll see. If this low holds again and this can close strong, I may jump back in a position and just push it further. Maybe look for like 140s. Got to hold that low though. Right? It's almost like if you've ever seen a triple top pattern, touch, 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 reject. This is kind of the opposite, right? Touch, 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 and go. So definitely could be a possibility. Nvidia's puts currently back to last day's high. Let's take 8 peek at Nibius real quick, and then I think I'm going to call it, guys. Wow, we've been on a while. I mean, looks pretty strong at the moment, to be honest with you. I don't know about puts. So let's see. If we draw it up, let's trace it out. I think I already know what we're going to see, but we'll trace that out. So it's already broken through. You can see same thing here with this pullback. All these here, this high, and this high that were the rejection points, were all in that fib pocket. You got 1, 2, 3. You could have played it 3 times. Short it once, here. Short it again, here. Short it again, here. I mean, that was a nice area for the bears, but it's finally breaking. And this, now that it's beyond here, if today closes above this like 267 area, I would say it probably goes for the high. So if anything, if it looks like it's going to close there, maybe maybe we take a long towards the high, towards like 300 or something like that. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up for the day. You know, we didn't get the crazy wins we've gotten before, but the important thing is, you know, we stayed consistent. We got some wins. We haven't lost a trade yet on here. Knock on wood. And we continue the streak. So, like I said, some little wins. I hope you guys got them with me. Maybe you held some runners and got bigger wins. Like I said, please take a minute and post those in the chat if you don't mind, in the gains channels, and tag me. Be sure to like and subscribe here if you don't mind. I started posting again too, so if you subscribe here, you'll also see my posts coming from my channel. They're all shorts for the most part. What trades did you take today? We took a CoreWeave 105 put. I think that went up to like 30% that we trimmed. And that one went further. We cut the rest off at break even. Of course, that one went further to our target. We took Tesla, which also went in our favor, but I think we ended up just cutting that off at break even because it looked like it might not go. And then we took SpaceX. Wait, let me look at my channel. Let me double check. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Yeah, Tesla was out at even. SpaceX we trimmed twice for like 20 and 25%. And then we closed the rest of those at break even. So three trades, 2 wins, you know, 25 and 30%. Again, not huge, but 2 of them add up pretty well. So it wasn't a bad day. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you all coming. Have a great weekend, and I will see you all next week. Thanks.